Hey guys, Adam and Tim here with Anglers to bring you this week's fishing report. I'm not sure if you can hear the background noise, but we are super busy in here right now on a Friday night. We are really excited that all you guys are getting out and going fishing. So we're going to bring you this report, so hopefully you guys have good luck this weekend. Starting off with stripers, I know everyone wants to hear about that. Tell us what you got, Timmy.
Hey, so it's been a good schoolie striper bite so far this year. People are reporting great catches at the Bay Bridge and other open water structure areas. Fishing paddle tail, straight tail jigs like this, anywhere from a half all the way up to a 1, maybe a little heavier on occasion at the bridge pilings will work well, anywhere from 7 to 8 up to 20 foot of water, so it'll do well. They're also up in the shallows too, on the shoreline of the bay. If you can find rock piles or docks or any old riprap with some good current moving over them, you should be able to find them. And you can still throw straight tails, you can throw paddle tails. Top waters are great, and they're a lot of fun to see fish explode on the surface, especially if you get out early morning or late in the evening. For those wanting the live line, if you can get your hands on spot, that's a great bet at the bridge. They have been a little tough to come by recently. Soft crabs are also another great bet to fish at the bridge if you want to get out there with some bait. But yeah, it's a great time of year to be fishing the bridge. Just make sure to be checking DNR's websites. Look at the maps for all the closures. Most of the tributaries are still closed to catch and release, or even closed for targeting at all. That will all change on June 1st, but for now, just make sure you're fishing in a legal area and check those regs.
Yeah, for sure. As far as some other stuff going on in the bay that could put a good bend in your rod is going to be catfish. A lot of the same areas that we've been talking about, guys. I have heard reports of great blue catfishing from up north in the upper bay, around the Pools Island lumps, mouth of the Chester. I've heard good things about the Magathie as well. Heard good things about the Patuxent, the Potomac, the Chop Tank. All of those places have been really, really productive for catfish. If you're going out there, you definitely want to throw some bait, unless you are going to a couple specific spots, which I'll touch on in a second. But if you're going out there, definitely want to throw a bait. Mud shad is going to be a great option for you guys. LY is another great bait. Shrimp is going to work really well also. You could do a fish finder rig, you could do a high-low rig, anywhere from like 1 to 4 ounces of weight, depending on where you are fishing. If you are like up on sort of like the middle upper Potomac areas where there's a really ripping current, you might need more than that, like up to like 8 ounces, but just kind of play that current and see what you need to hold bottom. Another rig that we got that a lot of people have been asking about is these Addiction Baits catfish rigs. Pretty similar to those HasLife takedown rigs that I'm sure a lot of you guys have been seeing on Instagram. It's got that rattle and spook on there, big old circle hook. That's going to be a really great option for catching those catfish. If you guys want to do something a little different with catfish, you want to go jig for them with artificials. Any of your rivers where the shad run is starting to taper off, but there's still plenty of shad in the rivers, those blue cats and flathead cats can get really keyed in on a moving live shad. So anything like a paddle tail like this, a curly tail, anything that you can jig and just bounce bottom with. Colors like pink and chartreuse have been really effective. You can go have some fun catching some catfish on a jig. You might even run into some schoolie rockfish as well. As far as white perch going on in the bay, you want to talk about that, Timmy?
Yeah, for sure. So this time of year, we would expect to see perch showing up in their summertime habitats, shallow shorelines up in the creeks and rivers, particularly around like shaded areas, shaded by trees, docks. But I haven't heard a whole lot of great reports, unfortunately. You could also probably try to check some of the deeper structure. Usually when they come down from a spawn, they start to hold in 10, 20 foot of water over like oyster humps or like any kind of bottom structure. And to target those fish on the, first off, target those fish in the creeks. Spinner baits are really hard to beat, like this inline meps. You can throw perch hounders, rooster tails. And most of them work on any given day. To fish them a little bit deeper, you can try throwing like a sabiki rig with either fish bites, real bloodworms, or soft crab bits, that kind of thing.
Yeah, these little gulps work really good too. It kind of represents a little baby silver side. They got that gulp stink to them, so they'll go crazy for that too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And yeah, one other thing about this Maryland Meps, guys, it does actually catch fish. The other side of that Maryland thing is gold. It's a cool little thing to have. I have one. But yeah, so that's kind of It really, as far as the Maryland portion of the bay goes, if you want to go way down south to Virginia, the red drum bite has been pretty good for the last couple of weeks. People running around on boats looking for them on side scan, throwing jigs at them. This is the diesel minnow in bubblegum pink. That's an angler's exclusive. No one else sells that, and drum tend to go crazy for that pink color. Heading out the bay and up the coast, we got a whole bunch of really cool things firing off on the coast right now. Sea bass season opened up recently. Been a pretty good offshore bite. People going out to your offshore and midshore wrecks and reefs. A lot of guys are just throwing like bottom rigs, teaser rigs with squid and things like that on them, but you can also jig for them. We have these Nomad Ridgebacks. It's kind of a hybrid jig. You can fish it fast, fish it slow. This pink glow color can be really effective. We've got them in like 60 gram all the way up to 180 gram to cover any of the depths that you guys are going out there to fish. As far as the surf goes, it is still firing off full swing spring. You want to tell us about that, Timmy?
Yeah, for sure. So the striper migration is in full swing. We're seeing the kind of the tail end of the fish moving up the coast on our Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware beaches, but it's a great time to get out there and chunk for some stripers in the surf. Sand fleas work great. People have been catching them on peeler crabs, shuck clams, bunker. They fish up to 40 inches have been caught on, or fish over 40 inches have been caught on acetique in the Delaware suds recently, along with a handful of black drum too. The bite has definitely been waning down in Maryland and Virginia, but if you get up to Delaware, I heard it's been red hot up there for some of the larger fish.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're looking for the smaller ones, you can definitely still get those acetique, chincoteague. And the smaller ones are really good eating.
Absolutely.
They are really good eating.
Absolutely.
I know people say don't eat black drum. They are really good eating. So come on by and get some bait for them. Orange colored fish bites. It can be sand flea, it can be clam, whatever it is. But a lot of the crustaceans that these critters in the surf are feeding on have orange eggs, orange guts, things like that. So when they see that orange and they smell that stinky fish bites, it's going to bring them right on over to your bait. As far as some stuff going on in the back bay, you got schoolie stripers at the bridge as well as a couple jumbos. Flounder fishing was a little tough this week with some of the wind. It's making the water all dirty. As you guys know, that can cause a little bit of tough conditions for flounder fishing. But guys are still catching tautog at the inlet and some of the rock piles in the back bay. And the bluefish are starting to show up as well. You can throw like metals at them, but I heard a couple reports of bluefish this week. That's all we got going on the coast. We're going to head over to Freshwater right now, talk a little bit about snakehead if you want to get into that, Timmy.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of the snakeheads around here have been a little sluggish with the colder weather we've been having, but people are still wearing at them with like subsurface baits like chatterbaits, spinner baits, that kind of thing. But looks like we got some warm weather coming, so in the next few days it's about time to get out there and throw some frogs around. This is a high octane duck profile, walked really well. We'll get them fired up on those warmer days. Look for areas, with mud where the bottom will hold heat and warm up a little faster, shallow flats, that kind of thing. And hopefully you should get some great action before the spawn really gets into full swing.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about some of your bass for a minute now, keeping on the freshwater side of things. Smallmouth and largemouth, they are, well, more so smallmouth than largemouth. Largemouth are sort of just kicking into post-spawn. Your smallmouth have been in that post-spawn feed for a little while now. If you guys don't know, when bass are spawning and they're on their beds, they're just kind of focused on spawning and protecting their eggs. They are not eating. So when you get to post-spawn, those bass are fired up and hungry. As far as smallmouth fishing goes on the Monocacy, the Potomac, and the Susquehanna, we have pretty low flows this week. This rain that we had recently might kick them up a little bit, so make sure you check your flow gauges. But it's pretty ideal conditions for wading, kayaking, things like that right now. So if you want to get out there and have a whole bunch of fun with smallmouth, I love throwing a buzzbait this time of year, especially in the post-spawn. People like to throw a whopper plopper, which I like as well, but when you get a little bit dirtier water, which we might get from some of this rain, that gold blade of the buzzbait and that on the surface really gets them fired up in your morning and evening hours, and even midday if you get an overcast day. As far as the largemouth go, in all your neighborhood ponds, in your reservoirs up by Baltimore, in your eastern shore mill ponds, in the upper reaches of some of your tidal rivers like the Pocomoke, some of those bass are still on beds, but a lot of them have moved into post-spawn. Again, same deal. They're hungry. They're feeding hard. I'm a big fan of this chatterbait mini max here for pretty much all situations for largemouth, but especially now when they are going to be hungry, they want a big meal. Kind of represents a little bluegill. You can throw a soft plastic trailer on the back, something with little twin kickers or a paddle tail. Anything like that is going to probably get you bites from largemouth. As far as trout go, you want to talk about that, Timmy?
Yeah, so most of the trout stocking in the eastern part of the state has already passed due to the warmer waters, but it's still going on out west, and it's hard to beat just a black trout trick under a float. You know, you can fly fish for them, you can throw little spinners as well, but yeah, it's definitely the time to head out west if you want to catch some trout.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then last thing on the freshwater side is going to be some of your panfish, your bluegill, your crappie, things like that. As we move towards summer and things are heating up, we are going to get a fair number of bug hatches, and those fish are going to get fired up, picking little bugs off of the surface. If you're doing it on spin, grab some of these tungsten fly jigs. They look just like little bugs. You can throw them behind a bobber and fish it like a floating fly, and that should get smoked by all of your panfish species anywhere where you can find them. I think that, let's touch on crabbing really quick. Starting to kick up into crabbing season a little bit. I've heard a couple reports of some guys doing okay on trot lines in like 8 to 10 foot of water. We're definitely not in the peak of crabbing yet. That's going to be a couple more months. But if you guys did want to go out there and try, it's worth a shot. And like I said, that's sort of 8 to 10 foot of water range. Guys running trot lines have mostly been using chicken necks. So that about does it for this week's fishing report, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, we're super busy in here right now. Happy to see all you guys getting out and going fishing. Good luck this weekend. Woo!
All right, done.